only from our very narrow, limited view does our life have a beginning and an end. If we could get outside of our personal identity and even outside of our human perception, we would see what every plant and every other living being is teaching us, which is that life goes on forever. There is only rebirth. Time had no beginning. It will never end. And life has gone on forever and will go on forever. Not just in this universe, but in what comes after and what came before. We can see change as a beautiful thing. We can recognize that living in a changing universe gives rise to everything we love. And so, just as we witness the trees grow, decay, and fall, with no suffering of our own, because we know that it planted many seeds, so too can we allow for the beautiful, constant flow of life to unfold and just appreciate the entire process. Like a roller coaster, life is full of ups and downs. And when we are attached to anything in life, we resist every up and down, twist and turn. But we would never want to go on a roller coaster that just sits there. And so instead of resisting that roller coaster, we can appreciate that everything is changing all the time. That sometimes it is slowly, smoothly going up, and then sometimes it might scare the crap out of you. But roller coasters show that we love that, and we will pay good money for that. And there is no reason we can't enjoy this wild ride of life as well. If it was predictable, we'd really not like it. Sometimes when it's going down and we think we'll be going up soon, it just keeps going down. But it always goes up. There is no constant. Not in this magical universe. And the beauty is, we are all in heaven. We just have to realize that it is within us. We live in a universe of constant change. Every single atom and particle is vibrating millions and billions of times every second. The cells in our body are constantly being born and dying in a constant state of birth and rebirth. There is no place in this universe where there is anything that stays the same. And so, attachment to people, relationships, things, status, wealth is only going to cause suffering, stress, pain, and feelings of immense loss and grief. And it blinds us from the truth of the universe. and it imprisons us. The reason surfers always seem like the happiest people in the world is because they love a sport so much that all their troubles and worries can fall away, and all that matters is this one wave, this one moment that requires my full attention. And in many ways, whether they realize it or not, that is a spiritual practice. They're never focusing on the wave they could have had but they missed. They're just watching the waves, waiting for that perfect one, hoping they can ride it for a little bit, never thinking it'll last forever, knowing another one is right around the corner. And that it's all the miracle of life. We don't question the good things, but we question why the bad stuff happens. But we can't take one without the other. And so instead of questioning, we can look for the deeper lessons and meanings without putting our limited judgment, our limited perspective, and our limited information onto the infinite wisdom of this universe. What does success even look like? Is it $1 million in the bank? Is it 10 million? Do we really think that if we have $10 million, we will finally be able to relax? That we will finally be able to have our mind stop worrying? Or will that money maybe go down 5% in the stock market and we get all that anxiety back? Or maybe it goes up and we get overwhelmed with excitement and we just stay on that roller coaster. And we always have that fear of losing it. There is no true picture of success that will bring about lasting happiness. There is only inner success, which is to be free from those worries, fears, and anxieties. Attachment to achievement and identity are the greatest sources of immense suffering in our world. If we have millions and lose it all, if we have a great high-powered job and we lose it, these are when we suffer far more than if we never had them. And the way to deal with that is to recognize that just because we had it, we weren't promised a future with it. We had an imagined future with that wealth, with that title, but we weren't promised it. We are only fantasizing, creating an illusion. And when we realize that we were just lucky to have it, period, then we can achieve in peace and lose in peace. The key to letting go of our ego and desires is to simply recognize the suffering they cause, to recognize that they take us further away from peace and happiness, that they separate us from the oneness of the universe. When we get a new car, We become overjoyed, drunk on happiness, really. And we lose touch with the reality that it'll get scratched. It'll break down one day. And that happiness will even go away. You know, that new car smell that we find so satisfying, as soon as that goes away, so does our happiness. And it's the same with any achievement, a job promotion, a raise, or any new possession, or even relationship. We really do become drunk on that love and joy we feel with newness. Every moment is new. Every moment is exciting. It doesn't even matter if you've been in the same place for 50 years. It is always new. You are always new. And so everything around you is always new. We just fail to look and give the attention and awareness. When we stay present, we notice those feelings. We notice the excitement. We don't just lose ourselves to the excitement. And we remember that everything has an expiration date because we have an expiration date. And so we don't get so caught up in that feeling. And so the loss isn't so unbearable either. Mindfulness just means to be aware. When we are mindful of impermanence, it means that we see beyond the illusion of sameness. So that when we look at a tree, we sense the change that is constantly happening within it. When we see a person, we feel the constant change that is going on in these beings. We feel that vibrant life force, and we sense all the layers of reality at once. When we see a house, we can sense its slow decay. When we see a car, we sense its inevitable breakdown. And so that as we look around, we don't just see the objects, which is a limited perspective, but we stay mindful of the causes and conditions that led to this moment and what this moment will lead to in the future. All suffering comes from this lack of seeing the world as it is. It is seeing the illusion of permanence. It is desiring for some false sense of outer security that will give us inner security. The beauty of flowers is that they are delicate and impermanent. Only this physical body can feel pain. Only the brain can create mental torment. But nothing can touch our true nature, which is not of this universe. That is why when we die, something leaves this body. And when we see a corpse, we know that the essence of that person is no longer there. Nothing physical left. The brain is still there. The body's still there. But everything that made them who they are is gone. Once you understand that you are not your thoughts, then it becomes easy to observe our thoughts without attachment, without longing for happy thoughts or fearing and resisting negative thoughts. Anyone who's grown up knows that the mind in childhood is not the mind in teenage years, and it's not the mind in adulthood, and that our mind is constantly changing. But something remains. Something is constant, and that is our presence, the essence of who we are. And that is the true I. The rest is just illusion. If we are mad at the world, we are mad at something within ourselves that we recognize but are too afraid to look at and acknowledge. And that is why we express it through anger at the other. But there is no other. There is no separateness. Most of us spend our entire lives running away from stillness and silence. And the world has made it so easy to do so. But if we push back just a little bit and start to embrace silence and stillness, by recognizing at first that it is where true peace lies, and then later, when we feel the peace, we will crave silence and stillness. Really, the first step, or maybe the second step of the spiritual journey, should be called false enlightenment. We have a moment of no thought, and we're sure that we're enlightened, and then someone scratches our car and, the old self comes back out. There is no point to compare to anybody else. Everybody starts at a different place. Everybody will finish at a different place. It is not where we are or where we hope to get to that even matter. It is simply taking one step at a time. We all have this moment right here in front of us. The world appears different to every single one of us. It radiates out from our center of consciousness, and we create our own reality. We live in a world where planets collide sometimes and stars explode. But within that process, gave rise to life on Earth and to every beautiful and precious experience we've ever had. And so whatever is going on in your life, it cannot be so bad that we fail to lose that beauty and preciousness of life. Sometimes all we have to do is to simply take a step back and look at that bigger picture. The heart always knows. The mind only thinks. There's actually a lot of research that shows that people who are naturals, as they say, who have an innate talent for things, often are the ones who quit because what they don't develop is perseverance. And so they're more likely to quit when it gets tough. The more you can embrace looking like an idiot, the more you'll look like a genius. The only way this world gets out of its mess is by everyone sharing their gifts. That's why they're gifts, to give away. we think that if we just learn something, if we just acquire enough knowledge, that we will become complete and whole. But there is nothing out there that can complete us because we are already whole. And that the search for something to complete us takes us away from that fact and makes us feel incomplete. And it's only when we stop searching and grasping for knowledge and information that we actually can sense that true freedom from needing to search and grasp for something. Truth is beyond words. All words and opinions are just pointers. They are incomplete, and if we take them as literal truth, they will mislead us because we will never have enough words to get at truth. It is only something that can be sensed, felt, to truly be understood. It's very tempting when we are feeling lost to seek out a book or a teacher who can give us all the answers. But there is nothing magical about these teachers or writers that we don't also possess. We all have access to the infinite wisdom of this universe. Just like every cell in our body knows exactly what to do to keep these bodies alive and thriving, we have every answer we need within us. If we are not in tune with the universe around us, we could hear a perfect teaching and not understand it, as if we were watching a foreign film without subtitles. So it is not the teachers and books, which can be very helpful pointers, but it always comes down to how we incorporate those teachings and how we allow them to change our life. Because otherwise, no teaching will change our life. And so it is always that intelligence within that will recognize that the words are not the truth. They can only point to the truth. And sometimes we have to put down those books and turn within to find them. So often, our egos crave the acceptance and approval of others. And it never asks if these people are living the lives we want, if they are truly happy, or if they are lost themselves in the duality of approval and disapproval. It is only an egoic chase that will bring us no true positive benefit to get that approval from others. The only validation we need is our own, and it comes from following our intuition, our hearts, and our guts. Mindful presence is simply looking at the world the same way you look at a beautiful flower for the first time or a beautiful sunset over the ocean for the first time. And the only difference between that and any other moment in our lives is we are not giving our full, undivided attention. We determine that only the spectacular deserves our full attention. But when we give everything our full attention, everything becomes spectacular. Finding contentment in the present moment simply means recognizing that the here and now is better than any imagined place we may wish to escape to in our mind. It is recognizing the only thing that exists, reality, this universe, only exists in this moment. There is no other place to be besides the fantasy of a grasping mind. And grasping, like climbing a mountain, and we are clinging on to every rock and boulder. It takes immense strength and effort. And when we let go, metaphorically, and we don't fall, we find that we are held up by this universe, and we can relax and rest. It is not one path that takes us to the top of a mountain. There are infinite ways up. And sometimes the easiest path for one person might be too easy for someone else, and it might be too hard for someone else. But at the end of the day, we all carve our own path. There is no footprints that we can follow. This universe is designed for our awakening. And so, as long as you are seeking that awakening, the path will appear.